So Teresa's on Zoom.
She didn't want to give everyone the flu, if that's all right. We're good. You know that. That's my kids like, we're dropping like flies in school. It's crazy.
I'm here.
All right.
Hey, Teresa.
Hello.
You sound sick.
Thanks.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Teresa, I didn't get a chance to send you the agenda.
That's okay. I'm going to look it up on the website.
Okay.
Okay. Any additions, deletions?
Yes, I'd like to delete item 14, the executive session that would be needed right now. I'd also like to add an agenda item for some grant approvals, or for grant discussion and prospective approval from the select board.
Okay. And that's item 10, or do you want to add another one?
I want to add another one, so you can make it item,
Yeah, since 14.
yeah, make
That's
it,
fine.
well, make it 14 and public comment come at the end, I guess, or however you want to do it.
Unless is anyone here want to talk about the grant?
No,
No, okay.
I don't think so.
Okay. All right. Item 3.
Yeah, so the select board hasn't had a chance yet to formally select a chairperson. And in terms of just organizing the select board to select a chairperson and vice chairperson. And so that it just hasn't happened yet. It needs to happen just for purposes of organization.
Okay. Vice Chair, you want to?
I was just finding the agenda. I'm sorry.
No,
What's
you're
your
good.
question?
Oh, so we're just figuring out reorganization.
Okay. I'd like to nominate Zach to be chair of the board.
Okay. Anyone else?
I'm going to nominate Teresa to be chair of the board.
Okay. With 3 people, do we have a stalemate?
No, so you can, well, I mean, so technically the rules of procedure, if the board sits in quorum on issues related to town business and the expenditure of funds.
Yeah.
For the purposes of organization, I believe that the board can act with 2 out of 3 for its own internal governance. Whereas the rules of procedure now stand, I believe that that's the way that it can be.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, Teresa, I'll leave that up to you. However, if you want to do it, perfect. If not, it's your call. It's split.
Yeah, no, I think I'm a little hesitant just because I'm pulled in so many directions right now. So if you can do this and then if we could revisit it next March.
Okay. I'll leave it up to, because I'm not going to second myself. It's up to Reese if he wants to.
Now, is this just until we have the second town meeting, or is this until for a year's term?
Give me either.
Okay. What are your thoughts on that, Teresa?
I'm happy to do either. Like if we want to just do this until we have 5 people, that's fine with me. Or if we let's do that, and that way we can revisit this in a couple months when we get a full, we have a full board.
I think that makes the most sense. So I will second Teresa's notion to have Zach as interim chair of the board.
All in favor?
Yeah.
Aye.
Aye.
All right, and I'll nominate then Teresa to stay on as vice chair until the full board.
And I will second that.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great, thank you very much.
All right, rules of procedure.
So this is also something the select board has rules of procedure. The rules of procedure are theoretically supposed to be renewed annually. The last one that I had a copy of was 2019, so I think there's been a couple of years where it didn't happen. The rules of procedure as far, and I have a copy here of the previous rules and of the draft that I generated for the new rules. The only changes that I made was to basically change the date to now reflect that it's Wednesdays. And to add a printed name line to the bottom of it, in addition to the signature line. Other than that, the rules, if adhered to, seem relatively adequate for the purposes of the select board's organization, and are pretty much boilerplate from the rules of procedure taken from VLCT. There's not a lot of additional guidance that is provided. Each select board gets to choose its own rules, basically, in all different communities. So,
So what changed from 2019?
not much.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, from the
Did you-
2019 rules?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, just the date. I think I just changed the date, and I think I added the printed name in addition to the signature line.
Okay.
Questions at this point?
If you'd like.
Kathy?
I would like to change that the chairman cannot make motions. They can second motions and vote on motions, but I just feel that it was abused.
So there's Robert's Rules of Order and Vermont state law in particular regard to chairmen don't give the chairperson any particular power beyond just the organization of the meeting. They don't get any more or less authority than any other board member. According to Vermont state law, the chair is entitled to make motions if they feel it's warranted. There's no specific, and Robert's Rules of Order gives the chair the authority to make motions as well. I was unable to find any other town that bans its chairperson from being able to make motions in the course of the select board's business.
Okay, understood. I think with expanding the board a little bit, it's going to give more viewpoints to that as well.
I just feel the task the chairman has really.
I understand. Again, with the board expansion in a couple of months, is there any reason to not table adopting these rules until that point?
I guess no. The only reason I wanted to bring it up was just to provide the option to the select board for their own organization. Like I said, not much has changed in the 2019 rules. Theoretically, the select board is still operating under the 2019 rules. The only thing in specific regard is that the date is incorrect, obviously, in the 2019 rules. But other than that, I think that we've made it clear through kind of de facto selection of dates as the time has progressed that we're in fact meeting on Wednesdays.
Yep.
So.
Okay. Let's do this. Since Teresa's not here to sign it either, let's table that either to the next meeting or until we get a full board, if that's not a pressing issue for tonight.
And I will.
Yeah. All right, we got some minutes to approve.
Yes, so the minutes that I have for approval for the select board are, let's see, 224, 36, 319, which was the most previous meeting here. And because the informational town meeting was technically a select board and the minutes have been typed and are in draft form available, the select board can approve the minutes of those as well. So there are the minutes for those meetings.
Okay, so again, so Reese can't approve minutes from 224, 36, or the informational town meeting. So is the two person quorum going to work for this?
In the rules of procedure that keep the current select board from being able to approve minutes for places that they weren't there, I would say that probably the select board would have to make a value judgment as to whether or not he can edit those minutes to reflect something, considering he wasn't there. But I don't think that there's anything that specifically keeps him from being able to vote on that.
Okay.
Well, I should have added, I do apologize. One additional thing that I codified in this rules of procedure was the change in posting locations, because we're using Jackson Road posting board, the town hall, and BJ's store. We're no longer posting at the town garage, and we're also posting on Front Porch Forum and the website. Those are both.
I think that's a great idea, Kyle. Thank you.
Again. I really don't think, again, don't know what was said at that meeting. So really, you should not be able to, of all the meetings and stuff I've been to, you cannot do anything.
Yeah, it's a little bit awkward just because now we have two people who are there. And I suppose we could have that two people, but then we'd be missing a majority. So in that case, these could sit until the special election. But again, those people wouldn't have been in the meeting either, you know, so it's a little bit awkward.
Right.
Yeah, Kathy.
And we do have two members that were responsible. I think you were here for that meeting, but all three were here. I'm not sure if that happened, that they could approve the two that are left. And you could approve the 224 and your turn.
That's true. Yeah. I'd also say, yeah, Reese was on a Zoom call for one of these two.
I was gonna say, yeah, I was present for this one.
So, and this is more of a oversight on like anything outstanding on the notes that any citizen can look on the website too. And with Reese being on the board now, I mean, he should have approval to kind of be the voice of the town and say if he saw anything that's shouldn't be there. Yeah, exactly.
That's fair as well.
So I'm gonna go ahead, and I know it's a little bit awkward with that, but I mean, I'll make a motion. Especially, I'll start with the 24th. Both looked at that. Motion to approve the minutes for the 24th.
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Make a motion to approve the March 6th meeting.
I will second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And then we're gonna do the 19th.
It was just the one item last week.
Yeah.
Yep.
You were there for that.
Yep, I'll make a motion to approve the select board meeting minutes from the 19th.
And I'll second that.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, and
Do
then
we need to approve from
informational.
the town meeting?
It was technically a select board meeting. Informational town meetings are technically select board meetings. Under the guise of the law, their meeting of the legislative body, which in this case wasn't the town people, but was the select board. The town voted then the second day on ballot issues, but that wasn't a meeting of the legislative body.
Okay. I will make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from March 3rd for the town informational meeting.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we plowed through that. If we get in trouble, someone calls us out.
The only one that I wasn't,
To no win.
I know.
the only one I wasn't actually present for was the 24th, so.
Okay. Yeah.
Sure.
Since Teresa isn't here to sign the AP and payroll warrants, I don't actually know if they can be.
Can you sign them and I can approve them and stop by tomorrow afternoon and sign them?
I'm fine with that. If you're fine with that, I think that as long as you approve them, that's the form generated.
Yeah.
It's just the signatures required, so. Sure.
Yeah. We don't need a special meeting if it's just you tomorrow, Teresa, to come in and do
No,
that.
yeah, I can just come in and sign them.
Okay.
Just, just if there's something big that I should know about that I can't look at, it would be great to somebody just to kind of call it out, but.
This is the fun part, Liz.
Yeah, there's, this is 3 weeks now, or 3 weeks, I think.
Do you have anything like that's on top of your mind in here? Anything odd that's not
No,
traditionally?
the town, there is a bill that you won't be able to sign off on because I'm disputing the town charters. The town phones got hacked.
Okay.
And we were making long distance calls all over the world using, someone had accessed the town phone system.
How much is the bill?
It was only an additional
Or what do you want?
$8.90.
Okay.
But I caught it in time. That's why it would have been, very quickly, would have been thousands. So we caught it and I'm disputing the charges. So that bill is not in here.
Okay.
That was a fun.
How'd you know we got hacked? How'd you find out?
because we got a call from Verizon that let us know that a lot of calls were being made from the town hall at 2 in the morning to the island of Jamaica.
Oh, cool.
And so Verizon said, well, this seems a little odd. And so I said, yeah, it does seem a little odd. So I went back and checked, and I was like, wow, yeah, I guess we have been making a lot of phone calls to the island of Jamaica.
We do need volunteers for the town. I don't know. I mean,
Yeah,
that
we
could
were
be-
reaching far and wide, but
That wasn't a cell phone, that was.
no, that was the phone. The way they accessed it was actually quite unique. Waitsfield Telecom had never seen it before, and now that they know about it, they're going to prevent others from experiencing the same thing. I won't go into great detail as this is being recorded, but if anyone's interested after, I'll tell you how they did it. But just not give anyone online thoughts, about this.
We've got time, Kyle. We're gonna, this could be like quiet time right now. If you want to tell stories.
So someone with iPad. Hope that they're not. Person who just joined with the iPad, could you just either unmute and tell us your name or change your name in the chat to what you are or whom you are?
I was like these receipts, Kyle, the paper.
Systems with the rental for our equipment for.
Con Systems pays for the land, it's our land record scanner.
Oh.
And it pays for the online service of record, which is the way that folks can find details of things in the town. It's $185 a month for that service. We're free to ask about any particulars of this. Donna has been the AP, I sign off before it goes in.
So it gives us some division with the external consultant as well. Reconciling.
Yeah, so the town is, the town has Becky Condon.
Yes, thank you. I couldn't remember her name.
I can't say enough good things about Becky Condon. We've been here every day lately for the last couple of weeks doing a lot of stuff. So.
Are you going to that VLCT training you emailed about? I saw it Friday.
I'm not 100% sure yet. I think it might fall onto one of the dates that the auditors are here, so.
Okay.
Oh, on the iPad?
Who is ever on the iPad, are you a town resident?
Yeah, Kyle, it's David.
Okay, thank you.
Start piling these up. So whenever you get payroll, we'll swap. See what they pay. That's
that's gonna happen going forward is the town is gonna work with a town resident to do some of the welding maintenance that is done at the town garage, some of the specialty stuff. So that's gonna be really good.
Nice. Who's doing that?
As a young person who just moved to town, they were at town meeting as well. His name is Colin Boris. He works for a fabrication firm in Burlington, but he's coming in at a inexpensive rate. Recommended some of the work for us, which is gonna be great. It's nice to be able to spend time on the hand.
Awesome.
Sorry, I missed the signature part here.
That's
That's
fine.
at the end,
That's
so-
fine, yeah.
All right, yeah, so go with that block. Cool. That's nice. How's the banking going, Kyle? Going down to fewer accounts?
Oh, yeah, we're down to one. We're gonna leave the other one open until after the audit, just in case we need to do anything audit related. But then probably close it out and we'll be down to 2 accounts.
Nice.
Reconciliation has become a simple task now. As well as Becky Condon doing some really good work for us. Again, keeping Penn's money in Penn. Doing really good work for us at the town, doing reconciliation and also module reconciliation, which is really nice. Making sure that the payroll agrees with the general ledger, and the accounts payable agrees with the general ledger, and everything meshes. It's been really wonderful to have another set of eyes.
Nice.
Won't be this much in the future.
No, yeah, we missed
No,
it.
that's okay.
Missed a rotation. Still a dog warden?
I am.
Nice.
148 votes this year as opposed to the 30 from last year, but I actually got on the ballot this year.
Oh, that's right, right in last year.
Yeah, last year was
Yeah,
right.
yeah. And yeah, Kathy, congrats on the elections. I haven't even seen you. Hold it all last year. Dog warden.
Yep, once for my neighbors and once for my own.
No way.
We have a rescue chocolate lab who was learning her boundaries, so.
Someone found her.
all night long. All three of them sleep on the foot of my bed, so they wouldn't be there very long.
I would keep it on the pole on the-
And I can give those to Kyle. Here's another paper clip.
That's the paper clip on top one. Oh, okay. That makes
Yeah, any questions, let us know.
No, I was just trying to certified labs and then, but it's for the.
It's a loop. Yeah, and
For
it's
the
actually
trucks.
late, they did not send us the bill, and then Rick noticed that they hadn't sent us the bill because it was for a drum. And we told them, and they said, oh, we haven't sent you the bill. Send it to us. It's funny to me, some
I was gonna say, it sounds something like touch screens for employee, you know, something for the. Nice to see a negative.
Our road crew was not selected for random drug testing.
Okay. Those requests go to you or to Whitney? Okay.
Well, to both of us, I think, because it was Rick that was selected. I don't think he can process his own request.
This is for the audio company, the media consult, like the 375.
Yeah. Still owes us work that he's gonna give us free because he did not figure out the right answers for us, so.
Okay.
You and I will be touching base. Is that one in
That's
there
cool.
also?
That one's waiting on Zach.
So, you're also- That's to the police.
Mhm.
Like, who did we get? Only 6 contacts, but 0 arrests. Does this tell us who gets caught speeding or anything?
Yes.
It does.
Yeah, I mean, not whom, but. the
Yeah, how
tone.
many? Yeah.
How many times?
They, you know, they tend to not,
Yeah.
I think it depends on the sheriff's deputy who's out here doing the patrols. It tends to be the same one, but they don't write a ton of tickets for panhandling.
No, they never have.
A lot of, you know, because we get the revenue. But, yeah, they don't make a lot of.
The Addison kind of echoed that at the select board training I actually did on Saturday.
How would the training go?
Oh, it was essentially just a more in-depth review of something, handbook, which helpful to get other perspectives. Yeah, oh yeah, tons and tons of people there. It's funny too, because a lot of these small towns that you've never heard of right over in the eastern side of Vermont.
Yeah, there was a town, I can't remember which town it was, central Vermont, who got in this last election, a new clerk, a new treasurer, and 2 new secretaries.
Oh, man.
So the entire town turned over to one election. He's posting on there's a listserv for all the clerks, and he's posting on there about needing help.
I bet, yeah.
What town was that?
I can't remember the name of it, it was over central part of the state.
Yeah.
North central area.
I remember hearing it. I thought on Saturday, but-
That's
Shoulder back as well, yes.
All right, Kyle, you're up. It's your show.
Make a motion to approve these.
Come up, yeah, AP and payroll warrants.
I will second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And then Teresa will get here
She's
tomorrow.
still- Hang on, she's still. Teresa, did you hear that? She's gonna look them over tomorrow and she will sign off on them tomorrow, but she can approve them. It means she got muted. She must have muted herself. Perhaps she's hopefully not coughing.
Perhaps, but I did say aye. Sorry about that. I thought I was unmuted.
Great, thank you. Okay, so there's been obviously quite a bit of business in the last several weeks. The select board, excuse me, the town clerk's office sent a letter to everyone in town. Everyone got a letter detailing the timeline for the special election and all the dates, ending dates, all those things. We're coming up on not too many of them right now. Today being the 26th, the closest date that we have to worry about is the last day to file a petition with the town clerk for an article to appear on the ballot is Saturday, March 29th. So you have until Friday, basically, at the close of business. The 7th is the big one for the last day to file nominating petitions and consented candidate forms for public office for the select board. And that is, we have some, which is great.
Okay.
And I will be posting some hearings, requirements in the newspaper in the upcoming days because we will have the public hearings on the charter change question on the 9th of April and the second hearing on the 16th. I wanted to ask the select board if they wanted to have a candidates night. I mean, none of you were running, but if you wanted to think if that would be an appropriate use of time for you guys, or do you think for the candidates who are running for office, they want to have a candidates
I guess what were you envisioning with that, sort of a question and answer type forum for residents that wanted to come in and meet with candidates? I think that that's a good idea.
considering it's not a regular election, so, you know, I'm hopefully was like trying to alert as many people that there's an election coming and all these things, that's why I sent the letter out. And we can make it part of the select board meeting if you wanted, if that would.
Yeah, it'd be great.
Yeah, I think
for
that
sure.
would be a good use of time and
I agree.
Okay, after the 7th, yeah, whoever is on the ballot, if they want to come in and join
Okay.
the following meeting, we good.
Great. Okay, so one of my questions, Department of Liquor and Lottery, we only have one establishment in town that needs a liquor license. It's the time for renewal, that is BJ's Store. Currently the town has, we get paid basically once. You know, the state gets a license fee, we get a license fee as well for that. I believe that it's $70 to the state, $70 to the town. So that's not so much a question. The question is, does the select board want to establish a fee for, and this might have to be a policy change, but this is just something to consider, I've been getting a lot of one-off events And I've been approving them because we haven't had a meeting. And it's just one of, they come in through the Department of Liquor Lottery, which means they have insurance signatures. The state has already kind of pre-screened them for being legitimate. It's not just somebody out there looking to sell beer out of the back of their truck or something. I was just wondering if we wanted to, we have the option to be able to charge a fee for that. My inclination is the person who is clicking the button is that it's only a click of a button. And I review their documentation to make sure it's good, but it's been for a local business who's trying to drum up business, so they're having like tasting nights and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I'd say no, but if you have an opinion.
I vote no on that. I think that, you know, there's enough fees and everything, and I don't think we need to add any more.
Yeah, I agree with Teresa.
Great. The town has new tax maps. That was one of the bills that he signed off of, was the payment to Christine Chamberlain, who created the new tax maps for the town. They have been posted on the website. They also are now installed in the vault downstairs. They can be viewed anytime. Well, anytime the office is open. We have been noticing that there's some issues with our zoning map, and we're going to try and amend and ameliorate those issues over the course of the next several months, basically. So stay tuned for that. But we have been noticing that there's something wrong there. We haven't discovered exactly what. Basically, the zone, it's not matching where we think it should be matching.
Is it something to do with our web provider, or is Christine?
No.
Fix that?
No, it's something to do with Addison County Regional Planning.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Panton and Waltham are in the midst of right now discussing a memorandum of understanding for the town garage. The town garage, as it stands, the small salt shed is currently being utilized by Waltham. This was basically a kind of a handshake agreement that went way back. Waltham is, obviously they use contracted plow and road services. And Rick would like to have that relationship codified officially into language. Not to mention the structure needs some improvements. So that being a part of that discussion, I think is appropriate. I've drafted an MOU. I provided it to Rick to take a look at. And I've also will provide it to Waltham and the select board. I have been in communication with the chairman of the select board in Waltham, basically saying, like, I think this is probably one of those things that might wait until after the election, just because that can change at the next meeting if you'd like. But basically all it does is codify the existing relationship and expand upon the responsibilities that Waltham would have in regards to that salt shed.
Yeah, I think that's great. Better than a handshake.
Absolutely.
There was an accident on Hopkins Road several weeks ago. The guardrail was hit. A vehicle became engulfed in flames and subsequently burned. The guardrail itself was damaged beyond repair. It needs to be replaced. We got a quote from the company that has to do that. It's a specialized piece of equipment that drives the post into the ground and then sinks the anchor into the ground to be able to hold tension on the whole system. The quote was for $2,500 with an associated expense of $500 for the town to do the work. That would be borne by the person who hit the guardrail. And I am in discussions right now with the victim's advocate in the Addison County court system to make sure that that person knows that they will be responsible. If not them, then their insurance.
Yeah, good.
But it is being handled, and it is not, we have not done anything to it because the investigators are still processing it. There was more than just an accident involved in this, and some other stuff.
Okay.
But it is on our radar screen.
Yeah, good. Yeah, make sure.
So in essence, that's no financial obligation from the town.
No, we'll get the whole thing taken care of.
Sure.
Okay.
I wanted to talk a little bit about, this is something that I sent to the select board. I'm going to share my screen briefly here because I think this is really cool. And I've been utilizing this. It's called Local Minutes. This is a free service that's been provided by a couple out of Burlington. What they do is they take I'm going to go over to the computer so I can show you what this is. What they've done is they've taken the select board minutes from all the towns in green and they put them on the website, and they've used an AI chatbot to basically scan through all the minutes, and then you can ask any question of this chatbot, it would be able to pull up the select board minutes and show you exactly where that thing was mentioned. So if I say, what did the Canton Select Board say about grills, for instance? And what it will do is it will search through these minutes that are available online, and then it will pull up an answer for you. And it will tell you a little bit about
No, I haven't. That's
all
really
those
neat
different
technology though.
things. And it will also give you a link to the appropriate and relevant select board minutes. And it will show you and then highlight exactly where in the select board minutes you can find the answer to your particular question. It's a free service. I think it's really interesting. You can ask it all kind of, it's extensive. It's obviously based on how good the minutes we put in are. Currently back to 2013, my plan is to get it all the way back to the first iteration of digital minutes, which I have available on the computer, which is 2004. And obviously this means that I want to take better minutes in the future. It's constantly updating, and this is free for everyone to use. Go and create an account. You don't need to be associated with the town. You can just be yourself, and you can ask the more specific your question, the better. And it will pull it out, and then it will give you the exact thing. Now, it's not foolproof. I've found several mistakes. It's a learning thing in progress, but I think it's a really great resource. I've used it several times already to find a bunch of different things for the town. Answer questions for people coming over the phone who are asking me about the select board. Otherwise, I would have looked at the select board minutes for hours, and I mean, but this is instant. It's one of those really interesting ways that technology is actually going to be kind of improving the situation. So localminutes.org, and it's free. And I'm gonna probably end up giving them a donation because they take donations. So I'm gonna give them a small donation for this if we continue to utilize this as a town, because I think this is a really great use of technology to be able to make our lives easier and then the folks in town's life easier.
So the town doesn't have to pay?
No.
Kathy, you love this. 'Cause I
No
know
one has to pay anything.
seriously, you should try it out tonight, this week, anytime.
Yeah.
I played around with it. I sent it to Kyle. He knew about it already. I was like, you got to put this. It was in 7 days a couple weeks ago, and he knew about it.
I actually had contacted the people. I skipped the line because they were loading it town by town. I skipped the line and had them do Canton first so I could play around with it. So
That's really
Yeah.
cool.
But it's awesome. Like
Yeah.
if you have a random question about like.
But you can also search any town.
That's right, yeah.
That's the neat thing. It's like you can search any town that's in the green, and eventually, because the select board minutes are public record, they want to get every town in Vermont. So eventually, you could say, what has Ferrisburg said about Canton in the last select board meeting? Or what has Virgin said about that? It's going to be a great resource for people. So I'm really excited about it. And yeah, localminutes.org. If you want to link to it, you can call me up, and I'll be happy to help you.
Yeah. I thought of you, Kathy, when I said this. Like this will be good. This will be like.
So
It just takes the
Save a lot
guesswork
of
out
time.
of which meeting was this from. and stuff,
exactly. Oh, 100%. The
you
clicking
know.
on the link is
Yeah.
the best part. Yeah, because you can actually find out what's going on. So yeah, really, if anyone wants tips in using it too, I found a couple of tips.
Good.
The surveys downstairs in the vault, and speaking of just vault organization in general with tax maps, all the surveys that the town has on file have been now organized and codified into a way that is respectful of this, because the tax mapper went in and gasped at the state of the surveys in the vault, and I agreed with her, so I went through and organized everything. So if anyone needs a survey, it's now organized. The road network inventory, I didn't load it up this time. I had it going last time. It's still in progress. I'm really happy with the way it's going. It's going to be a really cool interactive map. It's going to be available on the town website. You're going to be able to load it up. You're going to be able to click on any section of road. You're going to be able to see all kinds of different statistics about that road and future projects, conditions, all that stuff. And we're also going to link to, when the last time the road was paved or graded or all that stuff. Maybe not graded if it happens too frequently, but my plan is to continually update it. It's going to be a great resource for the town. I think eventually, just thinking about roads as asset management, like we talked about. The audit documents were submitted last night. Thankfully, Becky and I were here late finishing them, but the audit in person starts April 8th. April 8th, 9th, and 10th. The town offices will still be open, probably more limited services as I'm called away to do audit related things. And we look forward to continuing to work with RHR Smith, and they are extremely happy with what we've given them so far, and very happy to have such a great working relationship with us, and it's reciprocal, and we're looking forward to getting complete. And that is it for the clerk treasurer, beyond some of the stuff that is gonna come up a little bit later in the agenda.
Okay. Thanks, Kyle. All right, we're gonna look at committee appointments. You got any?
Yeah, so right now, the town there are 3 open committees that are kind of the big deals. Well, there's more than 3, but, so I put together a list of all the town, I mean, we can kind of combine
Saw that on the website.
appointed positions and committee appointments. I put together, they kind of go hand in hand. I put together a list of all the open positions that the town. And positions available. Now, we have people who are interested. Several people have expressed interest to me about the positions in town, both in terms of committees and in terms of the appointed positions. I wanted guidance from the select board on, because you obviously make the appointments. So I wanted guidance on the select board. I know it was mentioned at previous select board meetings that you'd like, that people would like to see some kind of progress, description, but also some kind of like step, basically program, you know, that says, here's how we have 2 to 10 people for the same position. Additionally, we have several positions in town that are currently filled until they've agreed to stay on until after the select board election in their current roles, and would continue to stay on past that, but they need another nomination because of it's a year-to-year.
Gotcha.
So currently for committees, committee, which is done through the Addison County Regional Planning Office, and the FAR's kind of negotiation contract committee. Those are the 3 kind of big committees that are on there right now. We also would need a point of contact, unless we're comfortable leaving it with me, with the lawyer dealing with the British Solar Project. And Bob Groff, and I invite Bob Groff to.
I want to say thank you to all the townspeople and the select board and town employees. I've been the emergency management coordinator for several years. It's gotten to the point now where I need to step down, and I apologize for backing out because I really enjoyed the job, but I need to step away. And I want to say thank you to everybody for again.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Bob.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, big kudos. I've sent you, like, it's so appreciative. You're incredible asset to town. Yeah.
And thank you again, Bob. You've been more than helpful to me starting up in this. Bob is also the emergency management coordinator for the regional emergency management, which is also going to need a person to fill that spot. So it's not only the town, but also, is that Addison County? Yeah, so Addison County, which there are other people on their side of things that could probably help fill, but then we need a representative to that body as well. So, you know, there are obviously a number of positions to fill. I wanted guidance from the select board on what your thinking is on filling them, on, you know, what kind of if we should be generating some kind of list of what we should do and whom we should take, if we should just take first comers or however.
I think it's case by case for me. Like, if you want to get the initial contact of someone and you think they're a good candidate, send them our way to kind of talk and communicate. And we can kind of fill them in on the details of what we know about each position. And if you get a situation where there are 2 or 3 people vying for the same one, then same sort of thought, like, pick an initial conversation and then, you know, kind of siphon that to us as well. And then we can kind of, that'll be part of our role to look through those candidates and kind of choose who the best fit would be on that front. But yeah, cast a wide net. I still keep posting on Front Porch Forum. And if people need descriptions, hopefully they know, reach out to you. And our emails are on the website as well.
Yeah. And I will be posting this list, once I've cleaned it up a little bit, I will be posting this on the website, unless I already.
Pretty confident I saw that on the website.
Okay, I might have posted it.
Yeah.
Okay. Do we have anyone right now, like you think is, like for any of these gaps that we want to look at?
So I have someone who's interested in tree warden.
Okay.
I have somebody who's interested in I have somebody who's interested in being the Addison County Solid Waste Rep, the Addison County Regional Planning Rep, the Green Up Coordinator and Co-Chair. I have those. The 911 Coordinator. So we'd be looking for alternates to Addison County Solid Waste, Addison County Regional Planning, which would be nice to have if anyone.
Yeah.
We'd be looking for a fence viewer, a town advisor, an emergency management coordinator, and representative to EMC, or the REMC, which I guess could be both persons if that person agrees, and a DRB member. Mary Rudd has agreed to stay on until after the election, but we will be looking for a DRB member after May 15th.
Okay.
Yes, Kathy?
Are the colors coded for some reason or just?
Yeah, green is available, blue is taken, yellow is I have somebody who just expressed interest.
That might be nice to put on.
I will put it.
On
Add a legend
I'll put it-
to it.
show colors. I say that online.
What's that?
I think it
I was just say, I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure there's a legend online with it.
It might not have, I can.
Somehow I knew that.
No, I agree with your perspective, Zach, but I think we should consider anybody who's interested in assuming these roles.
Great. All right. I will continue to post. It was brought up that I perhaps should think about posting in the newspaper, and I'm still doing that. We have a couple different, Moncton posted in the newspaper, and perhaps it was to great success, I don't know. We have a couple different postings coming up in the newspaper, so we will have some stuff going in there for all the special town meeting stuff. So perhaps we could kind of combo it and see.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll give us a deal on posting.
Okay. I'm for that.
Okay. So yeah, just kind of keep that in motion.
Yes.
Yeah. And as you get people coming in, yeah, feed them to us too.
Okay, great, great. Well, I do have two people right now, if we want to the select board wants to consider that.
Yeah. What do you got?
Rick Plaisance has indicated his interest in being a tree warden. He's been on a tree committee for a number of years for another community in Vermont, in New York. He and I spoke on the phone. He has expressed his interest to me a couple different times, which is great. Once at the election, and now again on the phone. I described to him what the position was. This position in particular has, some grant funding that's going to need some management and work. So this one takes it slightly higher than the other ones because the other ones aren't necessarily concerned with finances.
Yeah.
And he didn't seem to shy away from that. He said that would be fine. He's not available all the time, but the tree warden's responsibilities aren't necessarily year-round either. He's done a significant amount of tree planting, which was really nice to see.
Okay.
Because that's also a component of this grant that we have. So, if you want to meet him before you do that, we can make those kind of arrangements too.
Yeah, I would.
Yep.
I would like to.
Yeah. Tell them we'd like to talk to them.
And Sharon Ashcraft has expressed interest in weigher pole and inspector of lumber.
I know Sharon.
And so the weigher pole, for those unfamiliar, serves as a referee over contested loads of coal, of which Payne doesn't have many these days. However, the inspector of lumber examines, measures, clarifies quality of lumber, shingles, and wood sold within the town.
Did we have someone in that position? Have we ever?
No, I don't know.
Not as long as
Ever,
that, yeah.
We certainly didn't have anyone recently.
Right. Okay.
While Payne obviously doesn't have much coal these days, there is the possibility that someone would have,
Yeah.
someone would sell wood cut from the town within the town. So there could be a reason to have an inspector of lumber.
Yeah.
And so the select board, those are the two people who expressed interest.
Okay. Thanks, Sharon. Did I was gonna say I don't remember them being filled.
The other positions that are currently occupied, Paul Sokol is the Addison County Solid Waste District representative. There is no alternate. Jamie Dayton is the Addison County Regional Planning Commission representative. There is no alternate. Paula Moore and Louisa Giovanella both chair and co-chair the Green Up Day Committee. Paul Sokol is also the E911 coordinator. And I haven't had a chance to reach out to the rest of the DRB, Mary, I apologize. So I don't know, as the rest of the folks that I mentioned have indicated that they would stay on in those positions. I don't know about the other ones in the DRB who might. It's only Bethany, yeah, I remember you saying. So I will have to contact her.
Okay. All right, yeah, I mean, on that front, I mean, we can wait until Teresa comes in too, but I'm assuming we're not gonna get people knocking on the door for the coal and lumber position. That could be an easy one to quickly point, Sharon. Do you have
Kathy
opinions?
and Debbie had a couple of questions.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, Kathy, go ahead.
I was just wondering how the tree cutting, what is gonna happen with the wood?
The ash trees?
Yeah, the ash trees. Valancourt is taking some of it, and some of the rest of it will be, I think Rick said that Rick and Jeff are gonna be doing the cleanup of some of the stuff, and can't remember exactly what he
I was
said.
just wondering if it's gonna go like Moncton has a wood bank.
Yeah, and I don't wanna speak without knowing, so I'm
Yeah,
gonna,
that's
so
good.
ask me again. Rick told me, but I forgot, so just ask me again tomorrow when I talk to Rick, and I will,
Yeah, that could
Because
be
he
a great
told
option.
yeah.
Debbie?
Yeah, well, two things, along with the wood, the Lions Club is starting to go around and ask different towns if we could get some of the wood, and we will cut it, remove it and everything, and then we will either give it to people, low-income people that, or we'll sell it at a very lower rate to help fund us, but just to give you an idea. So, but the other thing is, if you want, I'll take the fence viewer position.
That's viewer.
Oh, the crops off.
Absolutely.
So the fence viewer, when called upon, examines and mediates property boundary disputes within the town.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm happy. I mean, I like to not, I mean, that's, knowing the history of the town a little bit, I think we don't need to wait around on the fence viewer and the way of lumber.
I agree.
So if Teresa can hear us.
I
and want-
can.
Okay, I'd like to go ahead and appoint Sharon as weigher of coal and inspector of lumber. We all agree?
I'll second that.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, Sharon, congratulations. I'm gonna get you a name tag. Okay,
Your t-shirt.
all right, you wanna nominate the next?
Yeah, I would like to go ahead and nominate Debbie Brace as fence viewer for Panton.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thanks, Debbie. Thanks, Sharon.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Okay, so we can cross. We'll see you again there, Kyle. Save some email
That's- Hey,
space.
that's totally fine by me. I will update the website. That's great. I'm looking forward to blank spaces.
Okay,
And I'll change it from yellow to green. In terms of the committees,
I'm just making sure, and those are yearly, right?
Yes,
Like if
those
they
are
want to
yearly.
renew, okay.
those are you. In terms of the committees, Maple Broadband meets pretty irregularly. It's like once a month. Transportation Advisory Committee also meets, I think, just once a month.
10 times a year
10
that you
times a
don't in July and December.
Yes, yeah.
Yep.
And the VAR's Organizational Committee, Contract Negotiation Committee, not for the VAR's contract, but to discuss the contract itself, meets kind of at an ad hoc basis. And that is working with select persons from the other towns in VARs to kind of handle that work that we had discussed way back,
Right.
which is, you know.
I would say on that front, just have Walter, if he's still leading the show over there, just have him send 3 of us for an email when they have a meeting or something coming up, and then if one of us can devote time and shoot over there, we'll do that.
Okay, great.
And if
Okay.
they continue to meet on Wednesdays, I was working with the VARS committee, and I'm happy to do that unless Reese, that's something that you want to jump in on.
I mean, I'm happy to jump in if I'm needed, but Teresa, it sounds like you've got some history there, so I think that's great, and we should utilize
Yeah,
that.
I mean, I think it should, if Wally can send everything to all of us, that would be great, but I don't mind doing that committee.
Yeah, so the Maple broadband is pretty low key, and the transportation advisory, I mean, those can wait as well, since they have been waiting.
And then, Veritas too, we haven't heard anything in a while.
Yes, no, there's nothing.
Okay.
No, I talked to Leslie Caldwell, the other day, just to make sure that there was nothing new, and there's nothing new.
Okay. And then Bob, do you have any EMC people you work with or anyone in mind?
I've been bothering him.
I'm sure, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, the EMC, Bob is obviously, as Debbie said, left big shoes to fill. He's instrumental in helping with our FEMA negotiations and a variety of.
Okay. All right. Should we go to the Panton grant policy revision?
Yes, if you'd like to. The grant policy that the town has on file was from 2016. It reads, the town of Panton recognizes the importance of applying for grants to augment the town's budget. Grants make it possible for the town to expand its capabilities while balancing its budget and potentially reducing the need to increase taxes. When the town is awarded a grant, it assumes responsibility for meeting the grant stipulations. The town needs to ensure that a grant does not conflict with its future intentions and goals. For certain grants, the town may also incur a financial liability. For these reasons, pursuing a grant, whether proposed by a town employee, official, and/or official town body, volunteer, or any other person acting on behalf of the town, must be approved by the select board before an application is initiated. It's undersigned by the select board at the time. I must apologize to the select board because I read this policy, but it did not click in my brain, and I applied for 2 grants the other day. And the reason that why I'd like to change this policy is because for the following reasons. I applied for 2 grants the other day. They were non-contributory from our point of view. They were both for a small amount. They were for $1,000. Basically, we would just get $1,000, with the only requirement being a reporting on how we use that $1,000. There were 2 separate grants. I was trying to find the same thing, just cast a wide net. I apologize to the select board, and I will rescind, if that's the select board's desire, those grants. They require no financial or in-kind contribution of anything besides getting the work done itself, which the highway department has already said that they wanted to do. It was just to offset the purchase of something we were talking about buying for the Panton Memorial Park over there. We wanted to buy some curbs to be able to prevent all the mulch that we use around the trees and rocks from going right down the hill. And the curbs came out to be about $1,200. And I said, well, I'm sure there's small park grants available. So I went and found them. There were 2. I applied for them. Again, my apologies, my misunderstanding of that grant policy. I would like to propose to the select board to change the grant policy to read all the same language. For these reasons, any town employee, official or official town body, volunteer, or any other person acting on behalf of the town must seek approval of the select board before a grant application is initiated. The town clerk and treasurer may initiate a grant application without select board pre-approval if they have determined that the town would not incur any financial or in-kind responsibility, and that the fulfilling of the grant would not be detrimental to town business. However, they would be required to inform the select board at the next available opportunity if grants applied for, their purpose, and reasoning behind the application. Basically, it gives me the ability to
Grab them.
if they come up. And these grants come up every month, so it was not a rushing thing. So I apologize for my misunderstanding in that. But I would ask that the select board consider this a reasonable change to the town's grant policy.
Yeah, Teresa, did you hear all that?
Yeah, I did, and I think it's really great. It gives you a little bit of flexibility and freedom as the town clerk treasurer to do what you see as best, as without having to always run it by us. I mean, obviously you're going to put it on the select board agenda, but it doesn't kind of hamstring you to wait for our approval.
Hang on, Melissa, but I think the other part too, like it does still come down to, we can still, I mean, obviously apply doesn't mean we're going to get it and approve. I want to make sure that in that case, even if you go and apply, we can not approve it
Yes.
if we don't want to,
Yeah,
as
yeah,
long as
we
we're
can
warned, we
stop.
can research, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, as long
So
as
you
it's,
can say no.
yeah. Do you have any opinions, Reese?
No, I think that sounds great as long as we have the opportunity to resend something. But otherwise, I think otherwise we have the potential of missing out on otherwise money that's available to us.
Yeah, if we miss an email or we don't have a meeting in time and, Melissa?
Yeah, I was just, for me, I think that it needs to stay with the select board. I guess if it's the application, but the approval should be done by the select board. I think that it belongs with the select board.
Yeah, I agree. No, I don't think he should be approving grants. Yeah.
That's not something that they do.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't feel like we should be releasing those things, that's just my.
No, not at all. And that's kind of like where I think it's helpful for us as a board, and Reese can speak for himself, but if Kyle does cast and grab some things and then we can kind of overlook it, that's fine. And we can kind of be the final say on that. It is helpful because, again, I mean, we don't search for grants.
I was gonna say,
when we're not here, so.
we're not the ones necessarily down in the weeds per se, unless it's something that's on our radar otherwise, right?
And sometimes, I mean, if you find a grant, it isn't necessarily corresponding with a select board meeting. So the deadline, I mean, there were several grants that I might have been able to apply for, but, would have had to wait on that.
So if you want
I'm
to change
fine
language, what I would do is send us an email with the language you want changed to all three of us, and then we can sign off on that next meeting and say yay or nay.
I was thinking, I just wrote down on this, the select board reserves the right to rescind any grant applied for by the contract. Add that to the bottom.
I think that's a great idea. For everybody, like all the different parts that I've heard. But Zach, I like the idea that you send it out in an email, we'll change the language. And that gives, again, Kyle the flexibility, but then us the overriding authority.
And we'll discuss it before we approve any language change.
I was gonna say, we'll read that
Approve at the
language
meeting.
back at the next meeting.
Yeah, and I'll send you the policy as it stands
Okay.
for comparison's sake.
All right, and now speaking of grants, the ash tree grant.
Yes, so this grant does obviously involve the town. It is not might have to grab it downstairs. Okay, here we go. This grant, we are currently participating in a grant from the Agency of Natural Resources for the ash tree removal. The grant was agreed upon, years ago, 2 years ago at this point. We are waiting on basically just a couple different things. Valancourt was down in North Carolina North and South Carolina dealing with storm damage and a couple other things. We want to be able to pull the trigger on the tree cutting. The money that we got for the grant was approximately $16,000. The money would cover the cutting of trees, the removal of ash trees, and also the planting of trees at a couple different places in the town that were already pre-approved by Diana Raphael and Rick before. It would be on public property. The money, unfortunately, when they applied for the grant, they had a certain expectation. I believe that there were 608 ash trees in the right of way, of which the grant would cover the removal of a certain number of. Unfortunately, inflation reared its ugly head in between the time that the grant was applied for and the time that we sat down with the Valancourt to actually discuss it. And they were like, well, this is our rate, and this is how much we would be able to get done. And that was quite a bit less, 10 to 20% less, I think, was from their original estimate of what they'd be able to remove, just because of cost increases on their side. So the Agency of Natural Resources released an additional grant called the Rural Roadside Ash Tree Removal Grant. And basically this would provide another $6,000 to $12,000 to the town, no match required, financial or in kind, to allow for additional ash trees to be removed, or working with state foresters on remediation techniques, or there's a variety of things that we can use this for. I contacted our contact in the Agency of Natural Resources, said, is it worth us applying for this grant because we're already the recipients of the other one? And she said, absolutely. she said it could definitely augment, and there's nothing that would preclude you from getting it because it would just augment your previous grant. So we'd be applying for $6,000. And it would be added on to, it wouldn't be added on, it would be a separate grant with separate reporting requirements. But it would be, again, no match, no financial match, and I described the project, basically, we're just looking to cut a few more trees, and they said that that was a totally legitimate use. And this is only an application, it's not necessarily guaranteed it, but it would just allow us to do that original work that we wanted to do.
Okay.
And so I would ask the select board to approve the application for this grant. The rural roadside ash tree removal grant for $6,000 with no financial or in-kind match being required on the part of the town.
Yeah, go ahead.
Was that put out for bids? Because the.
For Valancourt?
Not just Valancourt, because there's a
Yeah.
lot of other ones.
Mhm.
And in Addison County that do that, and I just think, I have a problem with any town or business that does not put something out for bids.
Mhm.
I really think that's something that should have been done. And,
You can check local minutes. Do you remember when Diane, I mean, she kind of did a lot of the legwork on this.
I don't remember.
With putting some up bids. I don't know exactly if I can tell you if we did or
I
not.
can't say.
Usually anything over,
did you look it up on the thing?
yeah, we
I'd
could.
be
I
able to,
don't
yeah.
know if the tree warden minutes are in
Yeah,
there.
yeah. No, I didn't. So let's look it up, we can see.
Also.
It's like having another select board member in the room.
Right.
So Debbie, you're right. We do have a stipulation where if anything costs over a certain amount, we automatically put it out for bids. So that should trigger, especially, so this I think would qualify.
I just have a problem with you saying.
Oh, yeah.
And they want some of the wood, they pay some of the wood, well, they pay them $1, they shouldn't pay you pounds wood.
I should not have said that, I don't know.
Well, no, but I'm just saying, if that is the case.
And how dated was that bid from them, do we know?
10 to 12?
I'm sorry, what date did they place that bid though?
Not.
Okay.
Well, according to this, let's see, December
Zero
2023,
reasons
the
is
select board
taken
minutes
over
indicate
time.
that the tree warden was writing a grant. During that meeting, she proposed applying for a $20,000 grant, which was the original amount applied for. They received the $16,000 grant in March of 2024. The town report received.
Yeah.
Okay. Community security candies. No, just the meeting minutes from me saying that in 2024, was that they didn't ask about the ash tree removal grant, but the clerk treasurer noted that we had planned down for ash tree removal.
So that's something I mean, again, be good to know, but it should have been triggered. I can contact Diana too and get details on if that was bid out. And again, do they have a date in mind that they're
It's
gonna?
be basically as soon as we want it.
Okay, gotcha.
We've had a lot of other things happen.
So if that's the case, I mean, we have time if we want to put this out again, if that's something.
It might have already been.
Yeah, Mary, do you have a thought?
Select board.
To Valancourt, okay. Yes, we'll have to,
Well, Rick might have solicited bids, and
Okay.
I don't know. Or he might have spoken to, the purchasing policy, I think says 3, not necessarily a sealed bidding system, but I believe it says 3.
At least quotes, right?
I think it's
Yeah.
3 quotes, yeah. And that might have already been done. I cannot say, but I can investigate.
Yeah,
We should have paperwork showing that, what the bids are, somebody should.
Yeah.
go to it.
yeah, if someone sent in, yep. It's kind of like what we did at the website, we got bids in, and, yeah, Melissa?
So
I noticed that as well.
16,000, do we have 16,000? Then we have to go look at the grant, but it said at the top. That right, it's when down to.
That would require 100% town match. So let's see. It doesn't require, right?
I don't think that's the right minute, that's not what it was, I guarantee you, yeah.
So let's see.
We wouldn't have done that.
Grant request would
grant.
be for 20,000 and requires 100% town match. While grants cannot inoculate trees, inoculation costs. So I don't believe it's 100% match. I think that, so that this is an issue, you know, we can find stuff, but if the minutes from December 11th, 2023, what the minutes? Yeah.
Right.
It does require a match, and we have, you can take in-kind services, and it's not a financial match. The original grant I'm talking about now. And Rick's work, along with the work that has been done by the hoppers to inoculate ash trees, basically already meet the match requirement. So with the match is already done.
Okay.
At that point. But I'll check with Rick on that, but in terms of this grant, this requires no match and it would no in-kind, and it's just basically to offer additional funds available to towns to take advantage for the removal of ash trees or studying ash tree. I mean, you can basically, you can do in-tree inventory, which we already have.
Yeah.
And
I mean, either way, I make a motion to apply the additional grant just so we're covered cost-wise.
Yeah, I'll second that motion. Based on the fact that there's no financial match from the town required. Going to ask a sort of obvious question. Is there a reason this has been on hold since December 2023 specifically, or are we?
There was some initial work that had to be done, and then also Valancourt, there were a bunch of storms that they didn't want to do it in the winter time. There were a bunch of storms that happened. They went down south to help out with the hurricanes and stuff that happened.
Yep.
So they didn't get back. But also it just, other things just kept.
Scheduling essentially,
Yeah,
in essence, scheduling, okay. And is there a time frame in which we need to use the grant money?
The original grant needs to be used by December of 2026, so we have to do it.
Okay, so we've still got some time.
This grant would, or maybe the original grant is December 2025. I don't have the original grant.
That's okay.
But the additional money is 2026.
The additional money is, let's see, they're accepting applications until the 25th, and project must be completed by June 1st of 2026.
Okay.
So a year, basically.
Yep.
A year and somehow.
And I could just say one more thing about that whole tree thing. And I just, if our town crews getting paid to do the work, they should not be getting the work. It should be going to townspeople or the town selling it or an organization or something, but the road crew should not be getting the wood if we're paying them to cut it, to move it away.
Sure.
They want to work on the weekend on their own time, that's different.
Yeah. Well, it's good you brought the Lions Club up and the ability to make use of the wood. We can. I don't even, they said they just want the wood?
I can't honestly.
Yeah, I don't.
To be honest, I'm sorry. I
don't remember them saying
it.
yeah.
Like I said, I don't have the answer tomorrow.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I don't have the answer.
Okay.
So I don't want to speak, opine without certainty here.
I understand.
Okay, and want to approve the motion to go for the additional grant?
I will second.
Teresa?
Yep.
All right, so that's approved.
Okay, last item for the select board's consideration, again, an MOU. This was brought about because of the audit. They want to see a copy of all our MOUs, memoranda of understandings, anything that we have shared. And while we don't necessarily share this equipment all the time, we do, it's one of the traffic lights. And Rick has one, Brian Nolan and Addison has the other. Each was bought independently. We bought it using a passive grant, I believe, a number of years ago. And I think Addison did the same. Obviously, it doesn't make sense to have one without the other. And so they get shared back and forth between the towns as needed to accomplish road work, basically so that they can work without having a flag. It's an automated traffic.
Yep.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I spoke with Sherry, the town clerk of Addison, and said, hey, we should probably have one of these because we have one for every other shared piece of equipment. she agreed, especially because it covers us when we borrow theirs, it covers them when they borrow ours. The memorandum, all it does is simply state the conditions that already exist, which is that the loaning shall be coordinated by the highway department, between the road foreman as necessary, that each town will provide each other with a certificate of insurance, naming the other as the payee, and each town is responsible for the maintenance of this agreement, and that if they do sell, the other town gets the right of first refusal. And so I'd ask the select board to review that and vote for its adoption, or agree to its adoption and sign.
Did you let Addison know?
Yeah,
Yeah,
they put it,
okay.
it was on their agenda for the select board meeting, their first select board meeting in April. And if they agree, then great. If they don't agree, then no problem. We'll go back to the drawing board and rewrite it. It doesn't incur any, it doesn't change anything.
Yeah.
Right now, it's just a handshake agreement between the road foreman and between the two towns. And that's, I think that those are prone to issues. So I think putting it on paper is oftentimes the best solution.
I agree. I think it protects all parties involved.
Yeah.
You know, that's the new people know what the people before them had done and agreed on.
Well, that's 100% true as well. And that's why I was surprised, because wasn't in any town report or anything. Well, it should have been. And also is a piece of equipment we own that should be on our audit depreciation schedule, and it's not. And so all these things, as I find them, I bring them up and we try to handle them one at a time. So.
I don't know who I am, but I want to thank them.
I should have mentioned too, in terms of the MOU, for the Canton, Waltham thing, the two select boards, Rhonda has indicated they'd like to meet select board to select board.
Okay.
So they'd like to come here and meet all together.
Who's it? Addison does?
No,
Waltham.
yeah. This one's just totally fine.
With the salt?
Yeah, this one just codifies what exists.
I think that'll be really helpful because then we'll actually have a conversation. It just won't be kind of like third parties involved, and just make sure that we're all on the same page.
On paper for you guys to consider before you, so that you would have context, because again, that's a handshake agreement that's gone back in time.
Yeah, perfect.
So.
Apparently they use our equipment too, must be though, load the salt and stuff.
They rent our equipment and they do pay us for it. And this MOU would also codify the rental agreement as it stands.
So we'll get some clarity on that when they come here for sure. All right, now moving on, public comment. Kathy, she beat you, Melissa.
I just have a concern, and I know we came to one select board meeting, and I kind of mentioned that the town snow blower wasn't here to be used because it was borrowed.
Okay.
And then I read in the Addison Independent in the police reports that the television went missing. And then there was a correction that it was the town of Canton's television that went missing and was returned. And I'm just a little concerned about who's borrowing this stuff. Or do we need to change the locks on the town hall, the town clerk's office, or just a misunderstanding, or just?
Yeah, you'd have to fill me in, Kyle. Do you have any-
So the television thing was a complete mistake. But Donna is mentioned in that article, and because it was mentioned to her the other day, they said, Donna, you went and got the TV back. She said, what are you talking about? That was completely wrong. There's no truth to that whatsoever. No television went missing of anything.
Yeah, I
Donna
haven't heard
was
of it.
surprised about it as us hearing it now. So I don't know about that. The snow blower was borrowed by the road foreman to use to snow blow the deck of of an elderly cancer person. And it was returned the same day. So, yeah. They wanted to try it out to see if it would be worthwhile for this person to be able to then buy it, because it's an electric snowblower that's a lot lighter than a gas-powered snowblower, and he's an elderly, frail cancer victim, and they wanted to see if it would work for him. It didn't, unfortunately, so it was returned that same day.
Small electric.
I think probably
For a
just
deck.
for, yeah,
For a
walkways and for the rail.
Why do we, like the town, like same here?
Oh, for like out there.
Yeah, the ramp.
Oh, Oh, shoulder work, which is good.
Yeah, Melissa?
That's, yeah.
Yeah.
Melissa?
So when I think about the liability that entails, we have, well, my understanding is that Rick and Jeff are outstanding, and then Walden comes and says, hey, I need this. We come off our roads to come load them. Rick loads them, or whoever loads them. What if we hit that subcontractor's truck with our equipment and damage their things? I mean, does our insurance know that we're doing this for some other town, like our employees are using our equipment and could damage a subcontractor's equipment? Like, it just feels like there's a lot of liability in this little thing we have going on.
Mhm.
And whether this is really something that wants to be on, and, like, can you sell me on why we want to do this one particular thing?
Yeah, I mean, I think Rick could speak to that a little bit as well. I mean, I kind of always like helping communities around in that sense. And if it's something that helps someone else, then they can help us in times of need too. But I think that's the point of doing the MOU that we're talking about. And we can kind of bring them in there and close up a lot of those gray areas. Because with anything, I mean, there's litigation that can happen anywhere. And so if we can try and get like that point brought up and added into the verbiage would be really helpful. Again, if we need to cover ourselves for insurance and damage in that sense. But yeah, I think this is a handshake deal. I don't know exactly how it went down with Waltham
I'm not sure about the
originally.
ordinance either, yeah.
It's been going on for a while.
The agreement does contain like, protections. The Waltham utilizes a contracted service, so their drivers are CDLs who are insured for liability. When they rent our equipment, they are insured for the rental of the equipment, and Rick doesn't necessarily need to come off the line. They are able to use our equipment and be insured for that. And so it just codifies that relationship.
I also,
Sorry, so just pass it to know that this is what's happening, because I think that would be like, how does that raising our insurance? If we do know, for us to do that, that just seems, that's.
No, I
Yeah,
think,
yeah.
Melissa's got a valid point, and I think that if, when we're factoring in rates for, using the equipment and such, we should probably solidify that,
Yeah.
make sure it's beneficial for both.
Yeah.
it sounds like to me that we are taking the way things used to have been done, right? The handshake agreement, sure, Waltham, you can come in and use our stuff, and try just to get the terms in writing. And I think that's really smart, not only for our protection, but also for financially to make sure that it's all equal. So I think we're all kind of moving in the right direction. And again, these are things that just have been done this way for a long time, but now we're kind of getting things in a more concrete way so that the town is protected.
Yeah,
See, the town of Waltham, they contract the fellow to do this,
yeah.
but he does this for them. Town of Waltham has nothing to do with it. You're using, he comes in, a private contractor, and he uses our order when he feels like coming, whether it's Sunday night, early morning, he uses our order, which he's complaining that it's all wore out, he wants a new loader. But we're letting Waltham, pennies on the dollar, and they're getting a real good deal. But it's an independent contractor that's charging the town.
Yeah, I think the original context of that deal has changed for sure. And I think when they come here to discuss that, I think we should definitely bring that up and kind of see if it's worth having that
I mean, cause
contract
anybody
with
can
them.
do it, because he has accommodation to the door.
Right.
He has hired help that does this, he don't always run that truck.
Yeah, the fact that it's outsourced isn't probably the ideal situation that we
It's a
want.
no-win situation for the town of Van.
Yeah. Yeah. Debbie?
Before that, even my biggest concern is, it wasn't too many years ago, but that salt shed wasn't safe for us to use.
Yep, it never
We
should be.
had to
Right.
have all, so then why would we let another town use it if it wasn't safe enough for us to use? What if he's in there with our loader or whatever, and that decides to collapse? That is not
So
sustainable.
part of this agreement is that on condition of being able to use it, that they would have the structure structurally checked and then also refurbished.
Yeah, no, these are all great points, and I think too, and then if we could contact Rick and kind of get the essence of the original deal as well.
I'll send you the MOU when I send you the document for the grant policy,
Yeah.
because it's all in.
I think it would be beneficial to have Rick here when we meet with that other select board as well, if that's possible.
All right.
I don't expect an answer tonight, but I don't believe it's in the town report. I guess at some point, I'd like to know what our delinquent taxes look like for year 2022, 23, 24. You know, how much do we have?
Mhm.
that
There are
town
two
has not
parcels.
collected in taxes. I don't need to know who owns it.
No,
Oh, no, I
it's
won't
public
tell you.
record.
But I can
Yeah,
tell you
you can
that
find out.
prior to last year, there are no delinquent parcels. And in 23, 24, there's 2. And currently, obviously, we don't have delinquencies until May 1st, but, or until after May 1st. But for 23, 24, there are 2 delinquent parcels, and both of them, at least one of them is paying, the other one is gonna be a tough nut, so. It's less than $10,000 in total.
Okay. All right, Debbie?
Hold on that, and I went back to this for a long, long time ago. And you have to put in, by the statute, the state of Vermont, delinquent taxes in the town report. You do not have to put your name. But it has to be voted on, it's supposed to be voted on, not to put your name into the account. But, like Kathy says, it should be in there, what year it is, what's sold, so town people can see if it's a pattern. I mean,
Yeah.
and the other thing is, the death notices weren't in there, the births, and it's just saying how many, we always put them. Who died in the town, who got married, and who had a baby.
Mhm.
And, you know, a lot of people were complaining about that not being in there. Because we have a moment's silence for the people in our town that died,
Mhm.
and it's kind of hard to do it if you don't know who they are.
Right.
Can I say something about that? I thought they.
Yeah, go ahead, Sharon.
There was a privacy issue. They had decided not to print names on that they decided to change that because of privacy, you know, protection.
Yeah.
I know, they're in the paper.
Well, anyway, I remember being here at the meeting when they decided to go doing that. And they used to always, print the delinquent tax amount. I can't remember if they would print the names, but they did have the amount printed.
They used to always print the names and.
Maybe they used to have the names. but
Yeah, the
not-
names I understand. I mean, Grandma Deb would come up with, I mean, you got that information too, on like numbers, but, I mean, we can put that in if that's something that the town would like to know about. Again, I mean, we can kind of, we rely on her to help us out in that front too and give us the information on if it's recurring.
I think it was at a select board meeting within the last year. The state has changed some of their requirement on that. They kind of frown upon putting XYZ had a son born
Yeah.
on.
I don't stand corrected on that.
No, I mean, it's again, you can't be on top of all of it, but yeah.
I mean, it used to be that the town report only went to town people. Now it's like on the internet. you
Yeah.
know,
Right.
And anybody can look up who died and find their address and, you know, I mean,
Yeah.
it's a risk
Mhm.
to the family. You know, it could be a risk for, but you know, there's people out there that look up these things and then they go, you know, burglarize the house.
Yeah.
I'm serious, so it used to be that way, because it was only information that was available to the people that lived here and people that you trusted. It's not like that anymore.
Yeah. Anyone else?
Well,
Yep.
if you guys say that you had somebody, I would be interested in, stepping up to Bob Ross.
For EMC?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think Kyle has, anybody has posted interest, and I haven't heard names yet. Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Sharon. Anyone else? Teresa?
I'm good.
Okay. All right. 7:05, make a motion to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.